You know, we're seeing so many things where control is really the main purpose, just like the environment. It's also happened with the 2020 election. That election, you and I, we know it was stolen. We know that there were so many crazy things done in many different counties, especially in all of the states where, you know, it was a battleground state and it was very close. There's a report out of Georgia that has not, well, it really hasn't gotten all the traction that I think it should have. And that's mainly because the only traction that happens today, if the mainstream media is not involved in it, the only traction happens through guys like us, people like you and I, who basically repeat stories, you know, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever we are. We repeat these stories and get the word out. And I don't think it's happened enough with the 2020 election. I think many of us have kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that we're not going to change the mind of many people about the 2020 election, but I don't think it's a dead story. I think we need to push even harder. So there's a report out of Georgia that when you hear this, it's going to make your blood boil. I know it did mine. Trump was absolutely right, okay? He was right in trying to push Raffensperger to not certify the vote until there was a real audit of the actual votes that were cast. Of course, you know, Trump was, you know, called all kinds of names because he picked up the phone and actually called him. They said he was trying to abuse power and force things to do whatever. No, this happens all the time where people are questioning the ballots and how there was a significant change. You know, Trump was leading the whole night until, you know, suddenly in the middle of the night, whatever time that was, boom, there's this big spike of, 100,000 votes cast for Biden all around the country. Ridiculous. So I want you to watch this clip with me. Let's watch it together. This is a woman by the name of Catherine Engelbrecht. And, let's listen to what she has to say, then we'll talk about it. Here it is.
We went through the voter rolls and we recognized that just based on residency, there were 364,000 ineligible voter records. So with that as a premise, I went to go and meet with Secretary Raffensperger. And here's where things get interesting, because he had already certified the election November 20th. I went and met with him December the 16th. And in that meeting was Secretary Raffensperger and many of his staff and others. And we talked about what True the Vote was helping Georgia citizens do by way of filing these elector challenges. And I said, you know, this is a huge number and it's going to leave a mark. And I'm just letting everybody know it's coming. And Secretary Raffensperger, I'll never forget it, pulled out a piece of paper, kind of back on the napkin, did a little bit of quick math and said, yeah, 364,000, about 14% of Americans move every year. We haven't been able to clean the rolls because of this lawsuit. So yeah, that sounds about right. That's about how many ineligible records there are. But what they didn't do in certifying and recertifying and all of the audits and all of the things, all of the great efforts that they say they went through, they never went back to look and see how those 364,000 ineligible voters voted. And so now what we know is that 67,000 of them did vote. Flash forward, he's on that call, the fateful call between Secretary Raffensperger and President Trump and others on January the 2nd. And on that call, he knew, because we had just had the meeting 2 weeks previous, he had already affirmed our methodology, affirmed our numbers. And Steve, what's more, told me, sounds about right. You know, the GOP should have been doing this all along. So it was a cover-up.
So she divulges all the information that she has to this Republican governor. Well, turns out, you know, he's a rhino. He can care less, and he's a Trump hater. So basically, he's just somebody who can't be trusted one single bit. And the sad fact is, we know that stuff like this happened, but nobody's talking about it. Well, we got to talk about it. The more we talk about it, I think the more the information is going to get out there. This election absolutely was stolen. And right now we got an old man in the White House. I don't even know if he knows what day it is or what time it is or even where he is, you know, but he's an Obama plant. He was put in there and he's just kind of the puppet on the strings of the great puppet master. And in 3 years, this guy, though, he has done a whole lot of damage to America. And I think a lot of it is because we've been too silent. That's right. We have. We haven't been loud enough. I think we need to be even louder. We need to voice our opinions, and we need to spread the facts as we get them. We've had movies like 2,000 Mules. We had all the research that Mike Lindell has done. There are so many people, investigative journalists, who have done a lot of research on the 2020 election, have come up with a whole bunch of dirt. And the media is having a field day calling us crazy and conspiratorialist and, every name possible. But the facts of the matter are real. And unless we continue to push the narrative of the facts, the real truth isn't going to come out. So I say it's up to us right now. It's up to us to repair the breach, to make the difference, to buckle up and get ready for the 2024 election.